Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 9 of Unfailing Yourself. Jeez, every time I think about just how the number of episodes are increasing, I just can't help but, you know, to myself that it's real and it's exciting to think about just how in just a span of a few months things can change. And I'm really happy and I'm enjoying the process of the way all of this is taking me. And with that being said, I'm so happy to see that the first guest was a huge hit. We're definitely gonna have to add more of that going on. And yeah, so stay tuned for more exciting things happening and more people coming on the podcast. But for today, you guys are stuck with a little bit sick old me. And so, yeah, without wasting any more of our time, let's get straight into it. How many of us talk to ourselves? Now, I'm not talking about the thoughts in our head that play on repeat, that 95% of the time doesn't say the nicest things. No, I'm talking about questions that we ask ourselves that are impactful questions, important questions, questions that are meant to change the trajectory of our mood, our day, our lives, and just how we go about seeing ourselves. These are questions that I know is a little heavy, but they are important questions that we have to ask ourselves. I mean, the truth is, we spend the majority of our time with ourselves and our thoughts. And so we might as well just keep up to date with the things that we say to ourselves, where we are in our lives, how we tackle certain situations, as well as just dealing with the untruths that we have told ourselves for the longest time. And so that's why our topic of today is just dealing with a little bit of introspection and asking yourself, where are you now? So, where are you now? How are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Are you sick? And these questions are important to ask yourself because you have to know why you're feeling this way. How can I better handle this? How can I tackle this? And if you're like me, you know that half the time the way that you respond or react to things is it's something that's built up. It didn't just stem from anywhere. And so it's important for us to sometimes just take a bit of a breather, to just take a step back, relax, and ask yourself, well, where are you now? The reason why I want us to deal with this today is our emotions play a really big role in the way that we handle ourselves, the way that we interact with people, and kind of just the way that we see our lives. And so, having a way of checking in with yourself for your mental health, one is it's so important, and allowing yourself to acknowledge your needs, knowing what it is that you need in your life, what it is that's going to improve your self awareness, to improve better emotional regulation. And so that's why. And I think I know for a fact that over the course of the past few months, there had been a lot of changes that have been happening in my life, and it has been chaotic to say the least, but it has also been really insightful. I think that a lot of it riled up a bunch of emotions, the good, bad, and the ugly. And a lot of the times I have reacted to certain things in ways that, one, I maybe would not have on a regular day. Two, I maybe would have chosen my words better. And I think eventually I had to just sit with myself and ask, okay, why is it that you are reacting to this in a certain way? Why are there certain build-up of emotions? Why are certain things more triggering now than what they used to be? And then I also had to look at, I had to also kind of appreciate the good times, the good moments, the good emotions. And I think that us as humans are, we're so quick to negate all the positive things that are happening in your life, and we like to fixate on everything else that is going wrong, or the times that we reacted to certain emotions, or the times that we said things that we weren't the proudest of, or every single time something goes wrong, because we kind of get to validate every other thing that's happening in our lives and just, kind of have it all bundle up together and be like, that's why I'm feeling this way. It's because of all of these things that have gone wrong, and so that's why I'm feeling and reacting the way that I am. And I think as I have been dealing or trying to deal with my emotions, there's a lot of things that I've learned that have kind of helped, and they are still helping. And I think that these are important things that you have to share. These are one of the reasons why starting the YouTube channel has been as prominent or as important to me, um, to kind of just shed light on the fact that we are human, we have emotions, and there are just so many other things that we are dealing with in everyday life. And it's important to sit with yourself, to check in with yourself, and to reflect where you are, whether it's in your physical life, whether it's in your emotional being, whether it's with relationships with people, whether it's with everything in your life that's happening. Sometimes it's good to just take a breather, to sit and to just reflect. And so, yeah, this is the reason for today's channel, the reason for today's episode, and I'm going to share some of the things that I have learned, that helps with when you are checking in with yourself. Number one, improved self-awareness. Um, Having to regulate your emotions, your thoughts, your bodily sensations, I think that it helps you gain a better understanding of where you are. It gets you to understand your needs, your emotions, what it is that's causing you to react to certain things. And I think some of us are at fault to sometimes neglecting the way that certain things make us feel. I think that it's important for us to recognize our trigger points, knowing certain things that react or create a reaction out of us, certain things that cause us to feel a certain way. And now this doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I think that's the other thing about dealing with our emotions is we're always so fixated on the bad, and of course it's important to recognize and it's important to deal and tackle, but I think it's also as important for us to acknowledge the good things. When something makes us happy, why does it make me happy? Let me find ways so that I can, relish in that happiness. And I think it's important for us to kind of just get a balance with the way that we treat ourselves, as well as just, oh,
It was at this moment that he knew.
two, enhancing our emotional regulation. And so, by acknowledging our emotions, we can learn how to manage them more effectively. And this just reduces the likelihood of bursting out or having these reactive emotions to certain things. I think this has been one of the prominent things that I have learned that has helped me when, just checking in with myself. there have been many times where something would happen or something was said, and I would just have this reactive emotion to whatever it was that was said, and I kind of always had to feel this. You almost feel this immense guilt and shame for the way that you had reacted to something. You know, you always ask yourself, was it really necessary? Why did you react that way? And I think a lot of the times I have fixated on the why, the why, the why. And that's important, obviously, as you don't really want to be the person who is always reactive to certain things, or you don't want to be labeled as the person who's always angry, and always just explosive to certain things. But I think I also had to ask myself the question, um, how come and what caused you to act this way? I think it has been a very interesting journey in regards to dealing with my emotions and the way that I respond to other people. It's always been this, your face kind of says it all. And so even though I don't always word or articulate the way that I'm feeling, one, my face says it, but two, just the things that you say in your head. And I think eventually it had started bothering me that I, one, may people may not know that you're saying these things to them or about them, but you're still saying it, you're still articulating it in your head. And I think that was one of the reasons why I just thought like I need to figure out why, um, if not a way to stop it, but at least a way to kind of acknowledge the reason why it's happening and find ways to stop it. I think it's important for us to understand that we are in control of our emotions. We are in control of how we choose to react to certain things, to the way people treat us. And it's a harsh reality to kind of learn to deal with and to kind of be okay with that it's not the job of other people to treat us the way that we treat them, or to be kind or to be nice. The only thing that we really have control over is ourselves and how we treat other people. And so I think just learning to check in with myself and to monitor my emotion and to make sure that I am being responsible with the way that I say things, with the way that I handle things, and also just the way that I think about certain things. Number three, better decision making. I think it goes in nicely together with the second point. I think when you are in tune with your needs, your wants, you're better able to make decisions that align with what it is that you want, your goals in life, what it is that motivates you. I think that a lot of our emotions go hand in hand with the decisions that we make. I know for a fact that when you're angry, you're more likely to type a message that you probably wouldn't if you're calm. If you're happy, you're more likely to do something nice to someone, and this is just the way that it is. And I think by just constantly checking in with yourself and monitoring where you are, you kind of get to understand the decisions that you make. And it would not just be this spur of the moment thing, in good and bad ways. You kind of know that you are not emotionally driven with the decisions that you make. You are consciously deciding what's going to be best for you. What are you going to do is based off something that you've thought about, something that you have spent time analyzing, thinking, processing, and then making a decision. I think there's so many times in my life where I have done certain things or reacted to certain things, made decisions on certain things based off emotions that I never really thought through. Um, and they sometimes don't yield the best results, and then eventually it just becomes this endless loop of frustration and anger, and you kind of just naturally blame yourself for it because there's no one else to blame. But it also just results in you alleviating or sorry, and almost just creates this environment where you are constantly just doing the same thing and you are hoping that you get a different result. And let's be honest, half the time, most of the time, it's not the case. Number four, improved relationships. I think this is it's a really difficult one, for me especially. I think when you're checking in with yourself, you get to understand your own needs, you get to understand your boundaries, and you also get to communicate effectively with others and the people who you have relationships with. I think sometimes we have this expectation that people are supposed to just get it. Um, and that's not the case. I think that I have had a very difficult time with not properly managing relationships in my life with my friends, family, um, just off the fact that you are allowing life to happen and you are neglecting the people in your life, in hopes that they're supposed to just understand, right? And I think it becomes a little more difficult when you have accepted the role of always being put together, always having the role of you're the strong one, you are the one who people come to for comfort. And so the moment when the roles are reversed, you kind of get into this rut with yourself that I'm supposed to fix all of these problems. The field that I'm in is sorry. The field that I'm in is proof enough for me to sort out whatever issues it is that I'm going through. And that's not the case. I think that I have had to realize that relationships go both ways. In the sense of having people lean on you means that I can lean on other people as well. And it's more of also understanding why it is I have decided not to, why I find it more difficult to trust, or why I find it more difficult to lean on to other people. And I think with checking in on yourself, you kind of realize that in you distancing yourself from people, or you deciding to not set certain boundaries in relationships, could also just be a result of you not fully understanding, or you not regulating or checking in with yourself with why it is I feel a certain way, or why it is I am reactive to certain things. Number five, or number four, I think five. Prioritizing self care. I think we overlook this so much, or we look at it more on a surface level, like getting self care Sunday or getting your nails done. And that's important, like you know, it's important, you have to do it. But I think checking in with yourself and identifying what makes you feel the best, whether it's rest, whether it's exercise, whether it's doing childlike activities like painting and coloring in, um, I find it very funny just how much I find joy and peace in those childlike activities. And I think it's just allowing yourself to prioritize yourself, to maintain a good relationship with yourself. And I know it sounds silly, but like I said at the beginning of the video, nobody spends more time with you than you. Nobody is dealing with you more than you have to deal with yourself. And many a times, if somebody ever had to say half the time, half the things that we have said to ourselves, we'd probably slap them. We would probably square or just set the record straight that you don't get to talk to me that way. You don't get to handle me in that manner. Yet we do that to ourselves. And why? And so checking in with yourself helps with those five things, and it helps with just reducing burnout, like making sure that you don't have this fluctuation of emotions. One day I get it right and the next day I'm reactive. And it's more of just understanding where you are in your life, where I am, and how this is making me feel, how I am going to go forward and deal with it. I think that the past at least 2 months have been really challenging in this aspect, in terms of just monitoring my own emotions and dealing with a lot of the changes that has happened and continue to happen, both good and both bad. Um, and I think it has just gotten me to realize that a lot of us a lot of us punish ourselves with the thoughts that we have, with the way that we have programmed and wired ourselves in thinking and in doing certain things. And we sometimes just forget the human in us, the the need to be around people that makes us happy, that makes us feel good, to make ourselves feel good, to be happy within ourselves, to be kind. And if there's one thing that I will continue being an advocate for, is that a little goes a long way, and it doesn't cost a thing to be kind. There are times where we don't realize what people are going through, and so being nice is nice, and learning to take that approach for ourselves as well, being nice and being kind to ourselves, is important as well. And so I know that our video today was a little bit jumbled with just all of the emotions that were happening, but I ultimately just want us to understand that one, checking in with yourself is important, monitoring where you are is important, but also just being patient and gentle with yourself is as important. Telling yourself good things, kind things, that is just to uplift yourself, to be nice. And so yeah, that is all for today's video. I hope that you guys feel a little lighter, with just where you are in life. Um, there are a lot of things that happen, life happens, and it's going to continue happening, but that shouldn't take away from who you are as a person, and being nice, being kind to yourself and to other people. And so this week I challenge us to be kind to ourselves, to say nice things to yourself, to uplift yourself, and to have that kindness extend to other people, and to say something nice to a stranger or to a family member or to your co-workers. um, it does go a long way. And so with that being said, here's to unlearning, relearning, and unveiling yourself. Bye.